Before we went into lockdown, I was able to visit the old city of Jerusalem and visit my good friend Zach, who has an amazing antiquities shop in the Christian Quarter, 24 Christian Quarter Road. And together we looked at three amazing coins, which I think sum up the history of the Jewish people in Israel over the last 2,000 years. Before we look at the actual coins, just to say a few things about coins in general. Today, a coin has a monetary value, no more, no less. And probably within a few years, coins and paper money will be obsolete entirely. But in the ancient world, coins were so much more. They were a means by which a king or a ruler could disseminate information or propaganda throughout his kingdom or throughout his empire. Today, if I want to know what's going on in the world, I log on to social media, I get instant news at my fingertips. 10 years ago, it would be 24-hour rolling news coverage. 20 years ago, it would be the news headlines every night on the television. And before that, it would be through a newspaper. But 2,000 years ago, none of these things, of course, existed. And instead, we had coins. What would be minted on a coin would be a message, would be propaganda for the people to read. A coin literally 2,000 years ago would be like CNN or Fox News of today. The first coin I want to show you is a Roman coin made of bronze, minted after the destruction of Jerusalem, the destruction of the temple in the year 70 AD. You can see on one face of it is the Emperor Vespasian, the Roman emperor, father of Roman General Titus, who destroyed Jerusalem in the year 70 AD. On the other side of the coin, you have an image which is so rich in symbolism. In the center, you have a palm tree. A palm would be an ancient Jewish symbol for victory. And you can look at the scale of the palm tree. It's very small. The palm fronds are very small. Small tree, no victory. Next to the palm tree, we see a Roman centurion, and he has his foot resting on the helmet of a Jewish soldier. On the other side, we see a Jewish woman, often depicted with tears running down her face, and she is sitting on the floor. It means that she is in mourning. So the symbolism of this coin is very clear, and the coin is called Judea Capta, the capture or the conquest of Judea. This would be legal tender Roman coin in the end of the 1st and the beginning of the 2nd century AD. Approximately 60 years after the destruction of the Second Temple, the remaining Jews in Judea rebelled again against Roman rule. And this rebellion came to be known as the Bar Kokhba Rebellion. For the first 2 years of the rebellion, the Jews were very successful, having wonderful victories against the Roman armies. And one of the things that the Jews did is they minted their own coins, and these coins are known as the Bar Kokhba coins. They took the legal tender, the Judea Capta coin, and they very crudely rubbed it, scratched it, and then they reminted it with their own symbols. You can see on one side is a grape leaf, a symbol of Jewish wealth and Jewish victory, and on the other side, a very, very large palm tree. Remember the palm tree from the Judea Capta coin? Palm is a symbol of victory for the Jews. Very large palm, very large victory. And they've written in ancient Hebrew, for the freedom of Zion, and then the year of the minting of the coin. The coin is dated the year 1 or the year 2 of the Jewish rebellion. The question is, what was the value of this coin? Did it have a monetary value? What was it worth? And the answer, of course, is that it had no value at all except for the life of the Jew that carried it and his family. If a Roman soldier, a Roman centurion, suspected you of being a zealot, of being a rebel, and they came up to you and they searched you and they found on your person this coin, straight to the cross. For 2 years, the Jews were very successful, but in the 3rd year of the rebellion, the tide started to turn and the Romans started to win. And under the banner of the Roman Emperor Hadrian, the rebellion was eventually crushed. Hundreds of thousands of Jews, if not in excess of 1 million Jews, were killed during this rebellion. So despite the defeat that the Jews would endure, despite the horrific losses that the Jews would endure, the spiritual leaders of the rebellion were all killed, most famously Rabbi Akiva. Despite all this, such was the faith that the Jewish people had. Such was their belief and their yearning for their return to freedom in their ancient land, that they minted this coin. And I think it really shows you the power and the symbolism of the ancient coins. The Romans rebuilt Jerusalem as a Roman city, Aelia Capitolina. The Jews were in exile, and it would be an exile that would remain for the best part of 2 millennia. But eventually, after almost 2,000 years of terrible hardship, on the 14th of May 1948, the State of Israel was born, and the Jews were able to return home. As the psalmist wrote, "Those who sow in tears will reap in joy." In 1948, after the re-establishment of the State of Israel, the new state in Caesarea, the former Roman administrative capital, minted this amazing commemorative coin. You can see that the symbolism is very clear. We have in the center a very large, beautiful, bountiful palm tree. On one side, we have a woman, a Jewish woman, an Israeli woman, holding up a newborn baby. And on the other side of the tree, we have a Jewish man who is planting a new tree, a new fruit in the land of Israel. The symbolism is very clear. And I think these three coins together, the Judea-Capta coin, the Bar Kokhba rebellion coin, and this 1948 commemorative coin, they really sum up the history of the Jewish people. A people who had faced terrible hardships, but a people that have always yearned for their return. I hope that when times are better, I will be able to welcome you to Israel, to Jerusalem, and we can experience together this miracle of the Jewish people. And I can also take you to my friend Zach, and you can actually buy these coins today.